Hey, people. If the glove don't fit, you must quit. It's going to be some of the most famous words to go down in history. And this is a trick old Johnny Cochran learned from his preacher. He was having trouble one time, went to talk to his preacher. He says, I know this man's innocent, but the people just won't listen to me. He said, well, Johnny, then you got to use the second law. That's what they interpret as Deuteronomy, the second law. So this is the ancient trick of politicians and preachers. And it says, a lead of rhyme assured of her mess hall call is her all in overhearding. A lead of rhyme, to start out with a rhyme, get people to pay attention to what you say. And, if it rhymes, it means it's true. And a lead of rhyme assured of her. A mess hall call is her all in overheard. And make sure everybody heard it. And they always say, over the river Jordan. And this is the word they always use, in over. It means over on the other side. Hollered so loud it was heard in over the herd. And bummed over Bornham will soup been pouring, of in topple will been, which its share to dies in. Bummed over, that's Numbers, the book of Numbers, that's the title. And bummed over, boring, in plain, nothing sticking out, nothing fancy, plain, boring. And Bornham will soup been pouring. And that's the word they usually say is red, seaweed. It's the same one they'll give for the Red Sea. And the soup been pouring of in. And topple will been, which it share, which it share, which its share, and the T ready over here, to die, to dies in. And so that's talking about the red dye. You extract the drug out of it, the dyes in, and it simulates death. And then you use what's left over the soup for your red dye. A lead of rhyme assured of her mess hall call is her all in overhearding. Bummed of her boring will soup been pouring of in. Topple will bend which its share to dies in. And this word for between here, of in, that's the word for names in the Greek. A name's on. And that makes me think this second one is the event fall. The name's on, the date. And the event fall will bend which share to dies in. So in all the ancient Egyptian art you see all over the walls, you see people doing all kind of jobs, all the works they're showing, but you never see nobody doing their laundry. Their laundry's always white. Even the ones stomping grapes down over here, they never get a grape stain. Somebody's always doing the laundry, and that's the way alchemy works. It's not what you see, it's what you don't see. You never see anybody watching the stars, looking at the telescope. Except this one time you see Thought looking at the telescope at the gods. But that's where your word alchemy and algebra and Allah, that AL in there, that means the unknown factor. But it means the knowledge of. And so some people read algebra as the God giver, algebra, God giver. And some people saw that as only God can do it. And some people were gods. And they could, the knowledge of giver, if you could do algebra. So in the book of the tutor of the body, they'll say this is the anum, the names. But the names go on the body, the teacher of the body. And the body is in the woman, she's the cook. She's a lead of rhyme, assured of her, the mess hall call. and it's a rhyme on the boat. Anytime you call all hands, the mess hall call, when it's everybody's business, you pipe out a rhyme, you play it twice. It means this is everybody's business, all hands. And so a lead of rhyme, means pay attention to this, assured of her. And mess hall call, everybody, pay attention, everybody. Is there the knowledge in overheard in? If you want everybody to listen, lead out with a rhyme. And so, I call my channel Strictly Educational Magic. So if y'all hear me start rhyming at the front of my movies now, y'all know I'm a practicing magician. In overheard in, bummed of her, borrowed from the stars behind the house it went to. And born will soup been pouring. No pictures of the woman cook, that's just plain boring. And the born of 'em soup, the soup of in pouring. The event fall, that celebration, that event fall, will been, which share, and the share is your piece of earth or your piece of sky in its share. To dyes of, to the colors of. All the days have their own color. So over here in the Greek, you'll see this oi come up. And this just replaces the Hebrew e. You'll see it here with thee. They say it means thee. And so it has all the qualities of the Hebrew e. It could be an e or an h or a thee. And so this is out the lodge. And that's where your word log house comes from. And so this is just the old English way, obsolete spelling of out. And so out the lodge of the Lala Sea. And out the house of the word sea. And so Lala, that's Tinky Winky's best friend. And it looked like Lala's the most famous. You see Lala the most. And so this is a Lala here, this loop it makes. And so that's where the word comes from. When Venus makes that loop, it takes the word from the sky, or from the bummed of her. Out the lodge, who's the lawless sea, moves is fondy, is roll peering to. Why ordain of in the remo, forced us mass, appletion this the rudder as a dollar sea, is a names on far on to fall, will of on, wall on, and cada cruci. And so coming out of the lodge, where you're staying, who's the Lala. And so that's when Venus goes retrograde and makes a loop around a house, around a lodge, and moves. And moves is fondy. And that's where your word fountain comes from. And it means flowing. Of fondy, from fawns, an origin, a source, water, fresh water, a spring, fountain. It's coming from an old word that means to flow. The moves is flowing, is ale. And so this ale, this is the God that you see on the end of all the names that mean, and the thunder of God, and is like God, Mike Ale. I say God, Theo, and Ale, that both mean knowledge. It was the old name for God for the Muslims, Arabs, and Christians. And like I say, God meant for the people that didn't understand. It meant the one that's not understood. And for the people that did understand, it meant knowledge. And sometimes translated as wise. The moves is flowing, is her, she is wise. Appearing to why ordain, to ordain the word, the house of the lawlessy to ordain. And ordain of in the rema, the cure, the rema, forced to them as, forced to them as. Everything gets forced toward the west, forced to them as. a pletion to fill this, the pletion this, the rudder as, the rudder to steer the boat of the dollar sea. And that's coming from the word dollars, the thala. And the dollar sea is, a name is on, appearing to fall, will of on, the key is a W, and will of on wall, W-A-U-L, a wall on. And kata share sea, this is according to, and the share a sea, according to share use. I believe that's the word, they take from the stars and from the planets and put it all into a big word that gives the time where the planets are in the stars. So I was looking at this word ton, they say is of the ones, and most of the time they say it's just the, and a lot of times they won't give any meaning at all. And it's spelt with the omega, so I thought I'd check it out. I went to my old Bible so I could search everywhere there's a T-O-N together. And it doesn't look like the same word, because they don't have an omega in the Hebrew here. And I found some funny stuff. And so I'm pretty sure it's where your word tone come from, even though this N with the E following doesn't read as an N. But you see most of the time it comes up with a name in the Bible. This is Sarah before she had her name changed, Sarai. And then the second time, then the third time it comes up is over here in front of Rachel. And Rachel, she was just cool, and what honor chill. And will is, W-L-A-E, will is what am in. And what honor chill, will is what am in, and sitting there chilling. But it's making fun of everybody in here, and that's where it's making fun of your government. The GVR, they'll say, is the mighty man, the govert, and the K, they'll say, is your govert. And it's a govertic. It means that's all he does is government. And the govertic and vet on, to let out, to vet on, and then ITCHT, and vet on it, shit. The hand ye, yod ye, and govertic vet on it, shit, hand ye. And so vet on it, shit, that means, in your bathroom, you get the shit off your finger, you wipe it on the wall, and so it's the words that's written in the bathroom, vet on it, shit. And the hand ye, them Arabs, they don't shake your right hand, they know that's the one you wipe your ass with. And so that's the government, the politician run around trying to get elected. And the govertic vet on it, shit, hand ye, trying to shake your hand. And this, we have to look it up in the Bible and see how they interpret it. But this is what they call it, Sarah, and these are epitomes. It's none of these are names. Epith, it's a term used as a qualifier of a name of a deity, a substitute for the name. Epiths, upon that. And so this is what of. And somebody might have read that as what one's Rhy'me, and it's what of, O-V, of is Rhy'me, what of is twisted, and what breach from pawn, and a Venus, what of is twisted, and what breach. Breach is the hole where you load the bullet in the gun, what breach. And it's also to make a hole if you've been breached. And also to go alongside. If you're trying to dock your boat on the beach and the waves push you sideways, you've been breached up alongside. And mapping is from place. So I'm sure they'll give this the meaning of, and Sarah, and what breach and gave birth to at this place. But what this actually says is your children will be kings. Sarah, what will be. And what of is wry, what if it's twisted, what breach, what's around, the rope around, in your cartouche, and what is wry, what breach from place is where they'll be. The place, is just this P and I, the M in front is from, and the E following it, the, and not just from place, but from place the, the isn't a proper way to address the queen. And this what I usually read as voying, and then the K on the end, they'll say is you seeing, and they'll get that from I into seeing. A voyeur, somebody peeping through your window in France. So I believe that just has more to do, with the Venus. In the Greek, I turn this OI into the E, and I'm believing it's the same here. All your children, they come from Venus. And Venus, what of is wry, what of is twisted, what breach from mapping thee, from place thee. And so I went through here, and this ton comes up many ways, never by itself though, but it comes up several different ways, but it's usually always with somebody's name in the Bible. It only comes up 19 times in the Torah, the first 5 books, but I had to look at the first time and the last time, and any time that it comes at the beginning of words. But here it's me thong, T-O-N-G. And that's a foot, a sandal, because the G is the foot, and T-O-N is the fashion, the ton of me fashion foot, me thong. In the Hebrew, they interpret this as because of her delicateness. But you see all the clue words around it, tender among you and delicate, and the sole of her foot to set on the ground. M-E-T, from it on foot. From it on foot. Mathong. And here it looks like a marriage. What on and white. The double vav coming up. W-I. And white am her veil. And that's back over here in Deuteronomy 1:41. And you might read that as a ton. A tono whatever. A whatever is what it's doing, a whatever. And a tonic is the day you die. It's the day of death. When you atone your wings, tonic is the angel. And a tana whatever. And you see here it reads different ways. It's a tana, atone your wings, angel. But it's also, when you read it with here, it's what on and why. The vav reading twice is a why not. What on a why not. What on a why not. Why shouldn't I? And what am a veil? A veil itched on a leaf. Itched on a leaf. We have sinned against Yahweh. Itched on a leaf, on a nun hole. So this would be the sin of the priest. And when'll come new. The fight in here is the alchemy part of come. And when'll come new kill, the double consonant. The second one reading is a I, a new kill. A search. This is a word for commanded. A-S-R-X. A-S-R-T-S. Usually it's a search you. But this is a search when. And I assure you when. And when view. And when'll come new kill. A search when view. V-I-E-W. View spelled 2 different ways. V-E-I-W and V-I-E-W. And one of them is the view looking out, and one of them's the view looking in. And the kill asserts when view, from being the one dead, from looking back. The alien, when view the alien. And with, W, and the double vav reading is a I, and it's W-I-T-H, and it means how wide something is when you have girded on. And so the width, how many people with you, it's how big your army is. They're coming 10 wide. In the alien with grew ways at climb or come to. What hine, Hin, and what hine will halt? What behind will stop? Here, Here, will stop here. When you go up to the mountain, you can't go any farther. You saw that in the Greek when they got to the wall, or the canyons, is the wall on, the W-A-U-L, the wall on. And here, Here, will stop here. When you get to the mountain, you got to stop. You can't go no farther. So the Allah, sometimes they say that means God. They'll give it a different number, same spelling. And sometimes they'll say it means tree. But it means the knowledge of thee. And it means this knowledge can be attained. It has a pattern to it. It's the X factor in your algebra, the unknown. But the words following it will make it known to the knowledge of thee. And the double E, the knowledge of he. Through, D, through, in, begin, work, from. That's the first two letters of the first two words in the Bible. Meaning in the first knowledge, in the first knowledge. And so the first knowledge is, where. To connect the first knowledge is where it's. And so I knew when I first started reading this, I had to find that chart of where the first knowledge was. And so it looks like it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a graph, a chart. It's going to be in the words, the Divram. So I'll probably read here in this teacher of the body, the teacher of the name, the gnome, that tract of land. And it's going to be hidden up in here in all these riddles. And it's going to have to be cross-referenced in the book of Numbers. But it all connects, and that's what had me looking at this word ton in the Hebrew. And I'll show you what ton means in Greek in the next movie. I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.